now proudly presented on SNME. That's Sunday night's main event, Patreon and free feed.
Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay, live here, Destiny World Wrestling. And I'm sitting down with the one, the only future of the West Coast when it comes to Canada pro wrestling, Mo Jabari, a.k.a. Kid Chocolate. What is up?
That's me. That's pretty cool. I'm good, man. How are you?
I can't complain. We were supposed to do this last week, but you got sick, so we're doing it now, which is better late than never.
Yeah, it's out here in Canada. It's wintertime, so you get sick pretty quick if you go outside with no jacket, and that's what happened to me. But I'm happy to be here. This is the show to be at, and this is the show to be at too. So it's a double banger for me.
Absolutely. You're in the Scramble match tonight. You're working with a lot of American talent plus a lot of Canadian talent. And you're working with a lot of different styles. And I love Scrabble matches like this when it's different styles. You got high flyers, you got grapplers, you got ground and pounders, and you've got kind of like those hybrids. So how does somebody of your caliber, who himself I would consider a hybrid, how do you balance all that?
Man, that's a good question. But also, this match best suits my style, where I can adapt to anybody. I can adapt. I can wrestle with anybody on the ground. I can wrestle anybody on the air. I can do anything. You know, I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and over there we got the Stampede wrestling style, which is pretty much you can work with anybody. But yeah, there's a lot of good guys in here. There's Amir Jordan, who I know very well. I'm looking forward to tango with. Mark Wheeler is on there, another great Canadian talent. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to show everyone here what I got.
Well, I know what you got. I've been a fan of yours, following you for a very long time. Actually, I think we followed each other early on in our careers.
Big time.
And, I mean, I'm a Bret Hart guy. I'm actually more of an Owen Hart guy myself. Jacket too. Bret Hart, the Hart family in general. So, coming from Alberta, having that legacy that you have to live up to, because everyone from Alberta, whether they want to be or not, will be associated with the Hart family. That's just how it is. You've also had times to pick Bret Hart's brain. You've sat down with Bret Hart. You've eaten with Bret Hart. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you not sat down at the old Hart house?
Man, so of course I have, and I love, that's a really good thing you put out there. When you're from Calgary, the pressure's on you always. The talent that came from Calgary is insane. You got obviously the Hart family, you got Bret, you got Owen, you got every other brother, you got Keith, Bruce, all those guys. Of course, you got Nighty Nightheart, you got T.J. Wilson, you got Harry Smith, you got Lance Storm, you got Chris Jericho. You can keep going and going and going and going. So the pressure is always on. It's almost like being an NBA player that's from Chicago. That Michael Jordan,
you're fucked.
You're always Michael Jordan is always the guy.
Or if you're a kid that comes out of North Carolina, if you're a Tar Heel, you better be the next big thing.
Exactly. That's the pressure that the Canadians, or especially the Calgarians, get. So like that's a good pressure, and like you said, I have a really good relationship with Bret, like almost like a father and son relationship, where I get to spend a lot of times with Bret, weekly basis. Like I get to see him 3-4 times a week. We watch wrestling matches. We watch my wrestling matches. We break down things. So to learn from somebody at that caliber, who is considered by many, not a lot, but many, a good percentage of the wrestling fans to be the greatest wrestler of all time, to get that education from that guy, it's surreal, and I'm very lucky to have, the whole family as friends of mine. Tyson Kidd, I get to talk to him every day as well, who gives me a lot of advice. Harry, same thing, and the list goes down. So I'm very, very lucky to be a student of the game, and to be a student of the game right now, to get that education, to go out to places like this and show it, So I'm very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, that's almost like, I look at it this way, the relationship that you have with the whole Hart family. You really are like, if the Hart family was Harvard, you are getting that scholarship.
There you go. Best education. Best, like, if that was Harvard. Yeah, I'm a Harvard-educated person, especially. I'm a Hart-educated person. And I love it because it's like you said, I go around, and I've been very lucky to have been traveling a lot, have been wrestling everywhere. NWA, WWE, AEW, all the indies in Canada. I'm very lucky to get education, and that's what you need at this stage of my career, to go and wrestle and test everybody and test every water, because then you kind of realize who you are, what you got, and what you can be. And I've been very lucky to do that, and I'm very lucky to be here tonight to test everybody and to test myself as well. And yeah, like, I got the best education, so I'm very, very looking forward to catching somebody in the sharpshooter tonight.
Do you ever find yourself as a wrestling fan sitting back knowing the relationship that you have with arguably one of the royal families of pro wrestling? There's not a lot of royal families, but there are. I mean, the Von Erichs. Tragedy surrounded them, but there are the Von Erichs. There are the Hart family, which also tragedy has surrounded them as well. And there are them. I would put them, even though it's clouded right now in a little bit of bad stuff. I would put the McMahon, the Rhodes. Like these
Not
are
many.
those are the 4 families off the top of my head that I could think of. And then of course, if we want to go down south, I would say the Guerreros.
There you go. That's it.
That's it.
pretty much it.
I think that's the Mount Rushmore of royalties and families. But as a kid, as Mo Jabari, just the kid, the fan, to be literally in the presence of some of your idols, do you ever pinch yourself and go, fuck, is this real?
Dude, every time, it's 100%, dude. Every time, sometimes I think I've got to a point where I got numb a little bit, where I'm like, it's so like routine, and I'm kind of like, I see him every day, and I see all these people every day, that sometimes someone has to remind me, like you right now asking me that question. Then he reminds me, oh damn, I'm very lucky. You know, to be sitting next to Bret Hart, to Bret Hart to be like, hey, you know, this match I did this, or I did this, and I'm like, my God, I've always wondered what was going on in this match, or I love this match, I want to hear the backstory. To get that and to hear from him, it's almost surreal. And like I said, I kind of forget about it because it's so routine, but like, yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal to me, especially to be from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and that's the Mecca, you know, especially that's the Hearts are like right here. So for me to know Brett, to know Ross, to know Bruce, to know all these guys, it's like it doesn't, you know, it's not real to me, really.
Well, this is kind of the next part of this interview is kind of a cool situation because me as the host, I can actually tell you a cool story or experience that I've had with Bret Hart. I met Bret Hart at a convention in Kingston in 2018, right before COVID. And he signed my Bret Hart DVD, and we were talking, and I told him, I said, I'm like geeking out right now. And he's like, oh, I'm just a regular person. I'm like, no, dude, you're Bret Hart. You have to understand that. And he's like, are you a fan of mine? I go, I'm a fan of your whole family, but Owen was my guy. And he's like, I love Owen. And I was like, of course you do. You're his brother. I'm like, he's like, what was your favorite match? And I was like, and I started tearing up a little bit. I go, probably WrestleMania 10. I can watch 10 till I'm blue in the face. And even though I've seen that match 1,000 times, something new every time. And he said to me, he goes, yeah, that match was really special. And you could see him getting a little bit emotional. And then, you know, me being a young up-and-coming podcaster, I was like, hey, you know, Brett, if you ever get the opportunity, can I get you on the show? And he said to me, he goes, I don't do a lot of podcasts because I get myself in trouble. And you know what? He was honest. I'll give him that. But 2 great moments. I got to literally share a tear with Bret Hart, and I got him to honestly tell me that he doesn't want to say some bad shit.
And the thing is, it's honest. He's a very, very, very honest, like brutally honest. And that's something that today's world doesn't like and doesn't want, to have someone tell you exactly what they see. You know what I'm Brett is a very, very great human being. Like he's a human being that I've seen him. I would go to the grocery store with him, and he would go through maybe an hour long of saying hi to people. And like, you know, the minute he sees somebody scared, he'll call him over. He's like, hey. And I'm like, Brett, you're supposed to go home like right now. He goes, it's okay, I can't. These are the people that fed my kids. You know what I mean? These are the people that fed my family. So he's like, who the hell am I to look away from a guy who spent all of his savings
for sure
to feed me and my family? And to get that perspective from him, it's not every day you get that perspective, to know that, hey, this guy spent his whole entire life to support me, to support my family. And for me to turn around today, who the hell am I to, you know, do that? And I love Brett. And Owen, he loves Owen so much. Owen was not only his little brother, but he was, you know, like their wrestling brother. Not only, you know, mom and dad brother, but that was his guy where he can put it. Like he often tells me, I often ask him, I was like, hey, what was your, when you were still wrestling, what did you see today to be like your retirement? He always said, he's like sitting in my back deck with Owen, Perfect, Jim, and Rick Rude. Those guys were his guys. And he said, you know, and Pillman and all those guys, he goes, I always envisioned myself having beers in my backyard with these guys. And unfortunately, none of those guys are around today. And it's very sad. And you can see sometimes he gets really teary-eyed when he starts naming these guys, to be like, oh, I'm the only guy around. You know what I mean? But he loves Owen. WrestleMania 10, like you said, I agree with you. And I think the thing is with that style of wrestling, those guys, Owen, Brett.
It's lost art.
Let's be honest, very, because like you said, I can watch WrestleMania 10, and each time I'm like, wow, how come I didn't see this last time, even though I've seen it a million times? But it's so beautifully put together. It's so beautifully, it's a beautiful art, beautiful work. Beautifully, and it's like, that's every Bret Hart match, and that's every Owen match. And these guys took a really, really good They love wrestling so much they put the effort that needs to be put in there. And us fans, we we love them for that because we got some of the greatest. Like I can watch Brett and Steve Austin every day. I can watch Brett and Perfect every day, and nothing. Brett and Piper, and it's like these are matches where it doesn't matter. Brett and Davey, I can watch them any day of the week, anytime at night, and I would watch it from beginning to end and still be shocked. And it's the most beautiful art, and that's what guys like me should be watching to learn how to do this properly. That's how you do it properly, you know.
I love that. Okay, I got to ask this. You said it earlier in the interview. Bret Hart is the most honest person to the point where it could be brutal and it can be hurtful. And if you've sat down and he's dissected your matches, there must have been times where you walked out feeling like I'm walking funny right now. This hurt a little bit. My ego has dropped 50 to 20 decibels after him saying shit, crap, fuck that. That's horrible. Why did you do that? And I know he hates everyone standing around jumping from the top. He said it numerous times. I fucking hate it. It is the worst thing in pro wrestling.
It slaps. So, funny thing. So we have a company called Dungeon Wrestling in Calgary, and he actually spends a lot of time putting matches together simply because he wants to teach us exactly what wrestling should be, that we don't need to slap, we don't need to do dives, we don't need to. He said, guys, if you do it like this, people will love it even more. And he would take the time. But the funny thing is, I remember I did a AEW here in Toronto when they first came, and I had a match with Ortiz and Eddie Kingston, and there was a point where he gave me a whip and I took a Brett buckle, but I stayed, and I remember he watched the match. And he got really, really upset that I stayed there. And I go, why did you get upset about that? And he goes, well, he's like, no one's gonna know, because obviously the guy asked me to stay there, right? Wrestling's funny like that, but he goes, no one watching is gonna think Mo was told to stay there. It just looks bad on you, and everyone's gonna look at you as the one that did it, and it's bad on you. So he's like, when you go out there, when you do these things, consider that no one is watching saying, hey, Mo was told to do this. Is they just think, oh, Mo's the shits, and he just did that. You know what I mean? And I remember thinking, wow, that's the perspective that you don't think. Because we were working together and we're doing things, you don't really think, oh, if I do this for you, it makes me look bad.
It makes you look more lazy than the other person because I'm going to sit there and set it up for you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it looks bad. And I remember he gave me that little, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. And every match that I go through now, it's like I have that in the back of my head. Like, hey.
Oh, no, you have instead of a little devil on your shoulder, you got a little Bret Hart?
Yeah,
oh, he must be an angry son of a bitch.
No, he's actually lovely. He's lovely. He'll tell you exactly how it is. He goes, he'll tell you. Like, sometimes he'll be like, hey, whenever I go do like big companies or whatever, he'll be like, hey, when you don't overcomplicate things, just do what you're good at. What you're good at, someone's going to appreciate it. He goes, always remember, someone's going to be watching there who's going to appreciate the good stuff that you do. You don't have to overcomplicate it, and then when you mess up, you got to come back and say, hey, we weren't on the same page. Yeah, no one cares. You know what I mean? He said, no one cares that you're like, hey, we weren't on the same page. He's like, just do the things that you're good at and make sure they do the things you're good at. And Brett was very good at that, making people look amazing. And that was his thing. He's like, I'll do what I'm good at. You do what you think. We're not going to do anything that we're not feeling comfortable about. And then we come back later getting mad at each other for what? Because we thought we can overcomplicate stuff. And it's like the best teacher to have, man. And it's like I get a little, and like I said, I have like, much like I have Bret Hart on this side, and in a lot of ways I have Tyson Kidd on this side in the sense of I get the old school education from Bret, and then I get the new school education from TJ, who I'll be like, hey, this is what Brett told me. He's like, that's exactly right, but this is how I would twist it to today's wrestling. Awesome. So like I get the best education there actually is in the world.
Yeah, you get the history of it, but you also get someone who appreciates the history, but understands what you have to do now.
Things change.
Whether Brett believes it or not, slapping is kind of a part of the business now.
A lot of changes.
A lot of changes.
It's like basketball. Like it's like everyone talks about, hey, there's no defense. Yeah, because like back in the day, you can put hands on people, and that's why defense is.
The Euro step is the stupidest change in pro wrestling. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
You know what I mean? Today, guys can do whatever. As soon as you touch them, it's a foul. So like everything changes. It doesn't matter what sport. It doesn't matter what it is. Things change. Things evolve.
Except the CFL, we still are the participation sport of sports.
Canadians, we got to get our stuff together.
I don't know what the fuck's happening in Canada.
We're the best
You're
in
lagging.
the world.
We are.
We got to get our stuff together, guys.
What's wrong with you guys?
We can't let these guys across the border make us look like
We're like the Bret Hart tag team right now. Come on, CFL, step up your shit.
This is not a joke. We're the best in the world.
I mean, the Argos are better than the Stampeders.
Stampeders, man. Guys from Calgary, what are you guys doing? Get your stuff together, man. I don't want to even come to a game because you guys are poo-poo.
Don't worry, even nobody cheers for the Argos anyways.
That's awesome.
Best sport in Canada is lacrosse. The Toronto Rock are like 19-time champions. Nobody gives a shit.
Cares.
Nobody cares.
Canadians, man, we don't care. What's going on? We just like to be at home, barbecue, have fun with our families, which is great to do that. But let's support each other.
Sit down with Bret Hart and have like a fucking education all the time.
Barbecue at his house, swim. I learned how to swim at Brett's house.
That's amazing.
I didn't know how to swim, and his family's like, if you're gonna be around us, you better know how to swim.
Better get in there, boy.
So they throw me in there, and I've learned how to swim, so I'm thankful for that.
My final question before I let you go get to the interview, and I guess this is just me kind of stroking my own ego. We talked about the conversation. You've watched me grow. I've watched you grow. Have I lived up to the hype?
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I came here like maybe like a month out of when I first left Lance Storms back in 2017, and I've seen you since then. And from where you started to where you are now, it's incredible, man. And the thing is, people should follow that formula of working hard. You work hard. You chase this is your craft, and you treat it as such. And you're here. You have a setup. The guys are here. This is what it is. Just like I'm chasing my craft and my dream. You're doing the same, and you're doing the proper steps to doing it. And I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be one of the biggest in the world, and if not the biggest in Canada. And you just keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't change anything.
That's an endorsement that I can appreciate and love. Guys, Kid Chocoate, Mo Jabari, now finally in the can on Straight Talk Wrestling. Peace, love, and wrestling. Brett, I'm coming for you. I'm going to get you soon. I'm going to get you soon. I'm going to go. You're going to be sitting here. Even though you don't want to be on podcast because you put yourself in trouble, you're going to be sitting here.
Right here.
That's it. Peace out, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each time we post a video. Alternatively, you can check us out on all podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. We are also available on the SNME network. That's the Sunday Nights Main Event Patreon. Please feel free to check us out there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at _Straight Talk on Twitter, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Instagram, Straight Talk Wrestling on Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling on TikTok, and of course, you can check out all our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com.
I don't need a nigga cosign. Without the liquor, you become a victim. You ain't never got a pole mine. I ain't messing with this generation. Fuck your gender, I ain't got